Let me turn my camera on
Santi,
here
I don't
if it
think people are
works.
ready. I don't think people are ready, man. We might be ready.
I
The
don't think
world's not
people are
ready.
ready, Swag. I don't think anyone is ready. You're not
Let's
ready. Just
go,
say
man.
doesn't feel ready. But yeah, welcome everyone to Town Hall Part 2 of this Star Atlas Summer. Town Hall Part 2. We already had a packed Town Hall 1 with the UE5 release. I hope everybody is enjoying that already. If you don't have access, remember you can get a key here in the Star Atlas Discord. I saw Swag, you've been playing a lot in the new UE5 release. I even saw some people posting on X that they got killed by you. So I respect that. Active in the servers out there.
Only a few lucky kills, man. I need to work on my aim, but I'm trying. And no, I think the team absolutely killed it with the last release, layering in those progression mechanics, some of the earnings opportunities. I'm having fun grinding through. I've almost got my Maries up to level 20, my first prestige level. I'm at 19 right now on one. I've got a few others that are in the 5-6 range, but really trying to get that Maries locked in.
Yeah. Are you
I
using
will
the
say,
sniper on that one, Swag?
of course, dude. Of course. We were on Uru last night, which is a perfect sniper map. Everybody's got a sniper on that map, though.
Yes. Crazy.
A lot of little nooks to hide in. Yeah, see, somebody there I was camping.
They found
There I
you?
was camping.
Man.
Stick was playing last night. He probably snuck right up behind me and punched me in the back after that. I'm pretty sure.
You got caught in 4K, Swag.
Dude, everybody was camping on that map. I don't want to hear it.
But yeah, man, it's been a great release. Shout out to the UE5 team. Everybody's really enjoying it. Even some people already got the crew pack that you can get, the first one, the silver one, by leveling up, maxing out 4 species. I think it was Nevo, the first one to get it. So shout out to Nevo out there. He killed me a fair amount of times with the sniper, for sure. So
he's killed me so many times. So many times.
Yeah. And on that note, and speaking about UE5, we'll start this town hall with some noteworthy news, as we do with the Bruce. We will speed run through them because there's a lot that we have to share at this town hall. So again, probably a long town hall. Get your beer, your water, sit down in a comfortable spot, because I'm pretty sure we'll go over an hour and a half. So first thing we wanted to say, yes,
before the news, I just want to say, proudly, I did not join the Profound Punab meta while that was hot. In spite of the fact that there was a big opportunity on that one, I didn't do it on principle. But the team went in and nerfed the Punabs now.
It was
Many
tough.
people probably happy about that.
Yes, people were happy, myself included. That first day of, I think it was Deathmatch out there with the Profound Punabs. Oh my god, man. Crazy day.
And you normally ask me how I'm doing, Santi, and I just want to say,
how are you doing, Swag?
It's sunny outside. Markets are green. Who needs to touch grass, man? Like, this is it. Couldn't be happier.
Yes, I agree with that. Let's go. Let's get this town hall kicked off. And the first big news is that for those who like UE5 and who like to compete in a tournament, Iris Quest, the community-driven tournament, has announced its date. It's on August 24th. The Star Atlas team is going to be competing on that one. The Dyson Sphere, we were placed second last time against Coexist. So we're going to go for the first place now, hopefully. We're trying hard, and we're not going to be an easy team to beat. So if the committee wants to participate there, I just dropped a link in the chat for you guys to mark as interested, and then you can handle in the Iris Quest tournament Discord in case you want to register. I'll also drop a link directly to their Discord, so you can register your teams. I think there is still time. So if you want to participate in Iris Quest, fully community-driven tournament from the Star Atlas team, we're just supporting the initiative and participating. So I just dropped a link in the chat for you guys to go join that Discord if you want to participate in the UE5 tournament. Other noteworthy news that is happening in the community is the 600k mega pip. So you can go comment on that right now. It's a mega pip for the staratlast IP expansion. So you can go comment on that right now. Maybe there will be some things happening soon from the DAO side there. Still don't know, but
It's a spicy one.
it's a spicy one. It's a spicy one.
What do we have, like 5,000 comments in that thread right now?
I was out of office last week, and I caught up to the messages on Monday, and it was 5,000 messages for me. But that's not from the start of the discussion. So yeah, super busy. Really interesting pip. So you guys can get in there, get your voice heard. The DAO is super active. The staratlast DAO is super active, and the staratlast DAO even funded 2 meetups already. So one meetup in Italy by the Italian community, and another one in Valencia by the Spanish community. 2 meetups funded by the staratlast DAO. So that is great. And there's also 2 more incoming. One in Utrecht, where I'm at right now in the Netherlands. I'm hosting that together with Ronald Funcracker. Funcracker, if you can drop the link, would be amazing. In case anyone is in Europe, Utrecht is a city that is easy to get to by train. So more than welcome to join. It's this Friday. And then the other one, which is bigger, way bigger, is the Cologne meetup in Germany during Gamescom. I believe that's on August 23rd. So Shadix or VV, if you guys are in the chat, please drop that link as well for those meetups. The Stratos community is super active, and this summer not only happens on Discord, it also happens in real life with the meetups. So,
Santi, I just want to, if I may, well, first of all, love seeing the pictures from the meetups. Really endearing, great to see people getting together. Just an incredible amount of passion from the Starless community.
yes.
So really cool to see those events, and I think it's great that you're out there in person as well, representing the Automata team. We've been really light on travel this year. I would have liked to have gone to some of these, but we've been deep in the mines of Moria, in the trenches, building
Absolutely.
a few things we're going to talk about today that I'm excited about. But
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go back really quickly to the media expansion pip.
Yep.
It is quite controversial. I just want to put it out there. We've commented on this. This is a non-actionable pip right now. We do not have a framework within the DAO that allows for the request of funds outside of the ecosystem fund. However, we do want to see the DAO progress forward, and obviously we're still in this very nascent phase and stage of the DAO, just the earliest innings. We want to be very pragmatic about how we approach modifying the DAO over time. We want to be responsible about this so that the things we implement are genuinely in the best interest of the DAO. And what I'm interested to see, and I've held back comments largely on this pip itself. I think it's exciting, but I've largely held back comments because what I do want to see is what is the community response to this? Because the discussion alone, this conversation and the debate that's going on, while controversial, does provide us with some insights on what are the community expectations and what are the community interests in moving things like this forward in the future, even if it's not this one. So we'll see where this goes, but I just want to emphasize that from our side at Automata, to be clear, there is no way to pass this as of right now, but this is a stepping stone, and this discussion allows us to ultimately achieve that over time. So again, whether it's this one or another pip that is a request directly into the core DAO treasury outside of the ecosystem fund, this conversation helps get us there.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to add to that, Michael, regardless of personal opinions on the pip, if people like it or not, it's fantastic to see that we have an ecosystem that is willing to put partnerships in place and take the time to do some things that may be controversial because they're not in the rules, but they're finding ways to add value. And that's always a blessing to have in a community and in a project like Star Atlas. So shout out to the community as a whole, regardless of if you like the pip or not. Participating, being active in the DAO really goes a long way and helps. So just wanted to get that in. So I think that covers roughly the noteworthy news. We can move to the first topic for today, which is related to HoloSim. And for that, we want to get Xcode and Jose on stage.
Yeah, you did cut out there for me, so just to make
Did
sure
I?
everyone heard it, we're covering HoloSim first.
Yep. We're covering HoloSim. Jose, welcome to the stage, my friend.
GM, can
Good
you
to
guys
see you
hear
at the
me?
town hall, Jose. Yeah, we can hear you. Good to see you at the town hall. You know, we see each
Thank
other
you,
at the
thank
brews
you.
a lot, so it's always good to have
Yeah,
you on stage.
no, it's an honor. It's an honor to be here. Man, my penguin bones are melting at this point, Santiago. I'm super excited. And hello, John. Glad to have you here with me, my friend.
Hey everyone, I'm happy to be here.
The
So
legend.
yeah, let's talk about Holocene, right? We have a
Let's do
fully
that.
packed agenda. We can't lose time here. So first of all, GM everyone, the Holocene team is back to the town hall, and we have some very exciting news to share with you all about our product development and what you guys can expect for upcoming Holocene season. But before we go right into that, we'd like to share some thoughts about the way that we have been developing Holocene and how we see things moving forwards. Because Holocene was a product that it started as an onboarding mechanism for Star Atlas Sage, but we realized that midway through the construction of this product that it held huge potential. Like from the very early days, the community got super involved. You guys were part of the game design of Holocene. You guys saw the establishment of our frameworks, and it became something bigger, something really cool, which allows Star Atlas to innovate in many different fields of our game, of our universe, without some constraints that we have, for example, on the economic side, on other gameplay loops like Sage. So, if you are a member of this community, you probably have played with us in the season 0 of Holocene. There, you guys saw the creation of the quest system, the automation frameworks, the in-game AI support, player chat systems, crafting systems based on in-game progression, and the overall competition that the different factions of Star Atlas had during Holocene. In short, this first season of Holocene was all about creating frameworks that we can build upon and quickly enable and bring new technologies, new gameplay loops, and new challenges for our players. And we couldn't be more proud of the work done internally, the team support, and we want to tell you guys that we are going to keep this same spirit moving forward. Yeah. Uh, Today, we are announcing the upcoming new season for Holocene. It's going to start on August 20. So you guys have exactly 1 week to get ready. And if you have not played Holocene yet and you want to learn more about it, the previous season is still live. You can go play and test it. But this new season, of course, comes with new stuff for you guys to do, new mechanics, and a lot of polishment on the things that you guys already played. Just to give you guys some more context here, Holocene roadmap is going to be divided in chapters and seasons. The seasons, you guys can think of them as in-game expansions. It will be the huge updates that brings lots of new content to the game, changes entire logics, new quest lines, and etc. The chapters, they will be like big patches that adds new mechanics, meaning that every patch we are aiming to introduce a very cool core new mechanic to the game. but also we'll be focused on polishing the things that we have already added to HoloSim in StarAtlas. And John, I'll ask you now to please share your screen because I want to share with the community this new feature that we are introducing in chapter 1 of this new chapter 1 of HoloSim.
Yes. I'm gonna need permission to do that.
I think you do have. You can drop and rejoin
Okay.
this
I'll do that.
page,
1 second.
but you do have it.
1 sec.
Yeah, classic.
Oh, don't click the end stage for everyone button. Hang on.
No.
Please don't.
All right, take his permissions away.
That's
Take his
a
permission.
tricky one. When you
Yeah.
drop from stage, you get a end stage for everyone message. You
Yeah,
definitely
it's
don't want
scary,
to click that
actually.
one. But yeah, man, so many people reactivated via HoloSim. So many new community members and people that left that are playing again. So I'm excited for this new season and what it will bring to the table.
No,
Yeah, for
Santi,
sure,
the button's
Santi.
grayed out. Can't share my screen.
No. Okay,
Giving
I'll
the
give you
priority
one more
to her.
role that should fix it.
Oh, give me all the rolls.
You have all the roles now.
Okay,
Should
I'm gonna
totally
have
be able to.
to 1 sec.
Should totally be able
You are
to
the
screen
lead.
share. I won't be able to play it this time. Gonna have to get a job. Westbit.
Still grayed out.
Still grayed out. That's
Yeah.
weird. You have all the permissions.
What?
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna turn off Discord. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Jose, I think we can cover a little bit the rewards in the meantime.
Yeah, yeah. At least we'll build up some anticipation. But yep, new features is not the only thing coming to HoloSim on this new chapter that we are releasing. We are doing some massive partnerships in the whole Solana ecosystem because now we are adding more extra incentives to participating in the factions, battles, and race of the contract race in HoloSim. I think Michael, I think you are more well positioned to speak about the main flagship of this partnership for this season of HoloSim. If you wanna share with us.
Yeah, happy to jump in here. First and foremost, I do want to commend this kind of skunkworks internal team that's been grinding on HoloSim development now since I guess it was about March is when development really kicked off. Our objective with this, and we've covered it a bit, but and maybe I'll preface with the fact that one of our internal mandates and objectives for the year is to really start expanding our own user base outside of kind of the existing community that's here now, beyond Solana. We want to reach some Web3 native users that operate on other chains, some other gamers that are on other chains. We want to start recruiting them in to Solana and into Star Atlas. And I think that this product itself is positioned quite nicely to also extend to a wider Web2 audience over time. I think most people have heard me comment many times that I'm very much an evangelist for the actual blockchain elements of crypto gaming, a big advocate for that. I'm not a big fan of obfuscation, as much as that does simplify the onboarding experience. But in this particular case, we've taken steps to move away from the hardcore crypto rhetoric intentionally because we wanted to simplify onboarding. Many people have heard this from you guys in the different town halls historically, but let me just jump into the partnership on this. I mentioned that part specifically because this partnership allows us to start to accomplish that wider adoption. And that's how we start bringing more players into HoloSim. And we do anticipate a carryover effect from HoloSim players starting to engage in products like Sage or products like the arena shooter modes in Unreal Engine. But a big shout out to Soulflare Wallet here. They did sponsor this first season. They're providing 50 Soul and another $5,000 in stablecoins that will be layering in into the economic incentives. Now, we've also supplemented that pool, and we'll get into the tracks, the different ways to earn this, but we supplemented that pool with about $9,000 worth of game assets as well. And the big thing here, this partnership with Solflare, is that we're going to be launching a banner in the Solflare wallet extension. So when you load that wallet, you'll see HoloSim front and center. And the goal here is to start taking some of those Solana native users and bring them into HoloSim to participate in this new season with the economic incentives. What I think is really cool here is part of this partnership is that we also obviously want to drive value back to Solflare. We have this banner. It's a great funnel for us to bring users into Star Atlas. What is the benefit for them? And we've thought pretty extensively about this. And given the fact that HoloSim does not have a native wallet connect, you guys know this all really happens. It runs on chain, but it runs in the background, and the wallet is created in the browser. There's a nice opportunity here that as we start to expand and reach a non-Solana user base, given there is a distribution of these assets on Solana mainnet, that we can refer people back to Solana. So when you get to that end of season and you're ready to claim any of the rewards or prizes that you've won through the season, the recommended wallet will be the Solflare wallet extension. We can start to natively then onboard some of these users into Solana. And obviously that does have pretty big impact for us. Again, being able to get people into other Star Atlas products and seeding them with some game assets that they can jump in and stop playing. So just a huge shout out to Solflare here for sponsoring this first season. Really excited about the partnership, and I think we have some great things coming with them as well.
Yeah, shout out to Solflare. Big rewards for free to play. So we hope to get everyone in, and you will be rewarded by your hours in.
Exactly. Now's the time to bring your family, your friends, and compete in the leaderboards, compete with your faction for your slice of the pie. I mean, HoloSim in itself is a lot of fun. I mean, everyone who played HoloSim, the chapter 0, had a really good time. The dopamine hits are undeniable. And now you are even being rewarded for having fun. I mean, doesn't get much better than that, right?
It's the dream, the gamer dream.
Exactly, exactly.
I'm ready. I'm
John.
going to start by saying join Team Mud.
Oh, okay.
John is already recruiting. That's cool.
Join Team
Yeah.
Mud.
So guys, these 7 days that we could launch it here. Yes, Sasquatch, I quoted you. So the 7-day windows that we have right now is to get you prepared. Like reunite your friends, reunite your deck, get together. Everyone's going to start at the same point. So this time you need to be ready to participate here, enjoy the bigger fray of HoloSim. With that said, I want to go to the meat of the update. This new mechanic that we added to HoloSim that pretty much changes everything. So,
Okay.
John, right now we are going to test who knows HoloSim.
Yeah, okay.
Let's see who can spot the difference in the map.
Yeah, okay. We've got 2 things. I'm going to start with saying that part of this update is already live and the other part maybe today, maybe tomorrow, but we wanted to get it out to the end of season that's already going and just flesh out some stuff. So I'm going to start with what's there now, which is an update to the route manager. So part of the challenge of last season was logistical complexity, and that is every time Laranor would come along and wipe out my mining fleets, it would take a long time to recalibrate everything, move ships around, redo my routes to make up for the disruption in the supply line. So I like the idea of disrupting supply lines. I didn't like the idea of all the time it added to the defenders' day to kind of redo everything that they had set up. So big a big thing that we wanted to do with this update was reduce logistical complexity. So we did that through the route manager by adding something called a cargo manifest. And so you can now assign so previously people would assign a miner and a transport ship together. They would go and they would harvest resources together and bring them back to the CSS together. We've split the two tasks up even more so that miners can stay at the base and mine, and transport ships supply that miner with R4 through this manifest system. So it's really simple. You assign a miner to a base, like I have done here. I've got 3 or 4 miners going. This one here at the iron base, for example, at Valiant. You can see him chugging away. He's depositing iron here. That iron's going to build up, and the resources that are here are going to be depleted. So all I need to do is create a transport fleet to pair with that miner, and I've done that here. And I'm just going to show you what the new transport operation looks like. Right away, we have this concept of a hub that has R4 at it, and then we have a site, which is where resources are being mined. And so you select your hub. In this case, it's Exodus. You guys will know that there's other bases in the galaxy that have all of the resources, all of the R4 resources at them. Those will be the other hubs. And then I'm going to set my site to Valiant. And now this auto resupply threshold is set. I'm just going to tell this starbase to keep 300,000 of each of these things at that base to keep it well supplied, and I don't know, like 10,000 toolkits, so that I have some toolkits on hand there for other. And this fleet is going to auto backhaul whatever is mined there. It's smart enough to know what resources are mined at which base. So as you can see, I now have a transport fleet that should be leaving Exodus with enough resources to top up this so that these numbers are 300,000, right? So I'm just going to come here and I'm going to select this iron fleet, and you can see it's leaving Exodus with almost 30,000 fuel, 13,000 food, and 9,800 ammo, and it's going to go and resupply that base, and then when it gets there, it's going to take whatever iron is there and come back. And to build on that, you have the option to disable the auto backhaul, and you can choose whatever resources you want to bring back. So likewise, you can choose what resources you want to send there. So you can transport contracts to a base and return with raw resources, or you can transport just ammo if you want to top something up. You have customization options now for transporting R4 to and from bases and bringing stuff back. So that's one part. That splitting of those two things, you don't need multiple fleets going to and from a base. You can do it all with just one. To extend that feature a little bit, we're planning on making it so that you can just add more ships and crew to the existing fleet from this menu. That's not done yet. So in place of that, I have this little green button here. And if I click this green button, it's just going to take the ships at my CSS, and it's going to form an identical fleet. And I'm going to be able to come in here and enable the route manager for that base using the same site. That was Valiant, right? And it remembers what Valiant's thresholds are, so I don't have to. And then I assign a second fleet. That one's also going to leave resupplying Valiant, and I just add more transport ships as required, right? The mining ships are like infinitely more productive than the transport, so you could do something like 5 or 6 or 8 fleets for every single miner that you have. So it's a really huge quality of life improvement for people hauling stuff, I guess.
Like, you slashed the supply chain logistics curve of learning by, I don't know, 90% now, John.
It's nutty. So with a similar setup, I was producing about 5 million raw resources a day, and that was with me going in and filling it up throughout the day. with like transporting the R4 to those places manually. And so at the end of the day, I'd have about 5 million resources. I'm ending up with 15 million resources using just one medium ship. And I don't have to touch it. It just runs forever. So that's huge. Mining's probably going to get a bit of a nerf because of that, because it's so huge. But what it really boils down to is you guys will spend way less time micromanaging transport routes and more time either in combat or scanning or whatever. You'll just have more resources available to you. So, okay, so that's
Yeah.
one big thing. Second big thing is, you know, the goal of the open beta was this contract race to redeem a bunch of contracts. The you know, Ooster was brilliant executing that. Mud and Ooster had a really great competition there. That system was in place of proper territory control. Like running these resources, bases, extraction, redeeming contracts, it's like territory control light, okay? A lot of people said, you know, we want to be able to have star bases actively defend, and we want to be able to take those bases for proper territory control. And so that's where we're going with this. Currently now, we have a basic territory control system in play. Probably later today, maybe tomorrow, we'll ship it so that everybody else can test this out before the launch. But you can see here, Ani has lost the free harbors to Ooster, and this is because starbases now defend themselves through the command interface. They have HP and SP just like ships do. And when your starbase loses all of its shield points and hit points, the last faction to fire a shot at it takes control of that starbase. The starbase gets full shields, it has 0 hit points, and the faction that took it over can come and repair that starbase and upgrade that starbase and mine the resources in that sector as if it was theirs. Further to that, anything that was friendly previously is now locked in the starbase. So if you had fleets that were docked there, they're now prisoners of war. Any of your resources that get stockpiled there, they're not in your control anymore. You can't get them until you take over the starbase again. So
It's massive.
yeah, so we're
This is
still
a
doing
dream
the
coming
contract.
true.
Yeah, we're still doing the contract raise. We're taking that concept, we're polishing it, and we're going to give you a really nice interface to be able to track your progress. The next big thing here is territory control, and we are going to eventually phase out contracts with infrastructure contracts, or maybe we'll do both at the same time. I'm not sure, but the idea is to have proper territory control in here in the next chapter. And so we're going to start this cadence of new features like unbroken territory, rough things like this version of territory control in this season. And then while the season progresses, we will polish that for next chapter. And then when the next chapter's out, you'll have a stable territory control, but we'll build on it based on what we learned in the last season. And you guys saw that throughout the open beta. We'll continue that sort of cadence into the next chapter and the next one and the next one, and we're just going to keep adding features that way. And as these features mature, maybe you'll start seeing them applied to Fleet Command or to Sage Starbase or C4 kind of thing. So yeah.
John, I see people asking questions about the starbase tiers.
Okay.
They will have an impact on the mechanics, right?
They do. Yep. They have. We're planning that they'll have an impact on the LP that's released, but that isn't implemented yet. Starbase defenses scale with upgrades, and Starbase upgrading is, if you look at the tier 1 to tier 2 Starbase upgrade path now, it's like that for every tier. It's not this like mountain of an upgrade job. It's like if you could upgrade from 1 to 2, you'll be able to go from 2 to 3 with the same amount of resources plus 1 additional component. 2 to 3 will be the same thing. It's like 100,000 of each plus an additional 1 sort of thing. So bases should be easy to upgrade. They should provide significant defenses for being upgraded. I'm gonna take the stance that bases should be harder to kill now. Like it's not like you can just roll over everybody kind of thing. and then we'll tune it back as we figure out how the mechanics are going to work. But so Starbase upgrading is going to be a lot more meaningful this time around, and the defenses are going to be huge. And I will say though, the Starbases don't attack like they're on patrol. They need to be attacked to fire back. So that's one thing.
Yeah. Another
Yeah.
important thing that we have not disclosed, all the lore tests will also, all the lore texts, sorry, it will have in-game character voices. So every character in the lore of HoloSim that plays in the dialogues and etc., each one of them will have a voice that you'll be able to listen to while playing the quests, which is really cool for immersion as well. And I see some questions about this. The whole season, everyone will start at the same point. So we are going to wipe out the map. We are going to start a new entire season from scratch. No upgrades, no previous ship, nothing. You guys start from zero and build it until you reach the hero status. Everyone starting at the same point, nothing from scratch.
Very cool.
Anything
Lots of
we're
new
missing
things.
here, Joe? Yeah, lots of new cool stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just checking with the chat here. There's a lot of questions. Current ships and crew. Okay, so to current ships and crew, like Chris and I have been balancing things. Crew will be. We've taken some steps to make crew emissions more favorable to people actually playing. There'll be less awarded through passive dailies and more awarded through quest progression. And then the ships are generally the same. We've added a few new ships, especially in the smaller, extra small classes. So you're going to see new ships. Crew requirements for ships is the same. We're not touching that for now. Must keep browser open 24/7. Yeah, man, of course. Melt your laptop. Double fleet size, same double fleet size. Yep. So yeah, so it's going to be MRZ. There will be no high risk zone. The high risk thing is parking ships at star bases that could be lost to territory control. So if you have a star base docked, if you have a fleet docked at a star base that's taken over, you lose control of that fleet. So that's the closest thing to permadeath that we have.
Also, John, another new feature that we must inform the community is our experiment on the battle test and monetization of HoloSim, right?
Yes. Okay. Did you want me to get into that too?
Yes, please.
Okay. So so we are experimenting with monetization options through HoloSim. We want to appeal to a much broader audience. People that are used to coming and paying for things like battle passes or subscriptions or microtransactions or XYZ. So so we built in a Stripe payment system into HoloSim for this chapter and season. And we're going to offer a battle pass, which is going to have a fixed cost. And that's going to provide a cosmetic reward through your profile picture. It's going to provide a bonus to the daily login that you get. And we have this idea of a login streak that's going to apply to everyone. So if you log in 5 days in a row, you get extra crew. That login streak won't expire if you have a battle pass active, sort of thing. So these, the purpose of these is like to show that we can monetize this product and that we have the back end working. So we're going to do all those tests, and it's also to provide some interesting mechanics through these daily bonuses and stuff. Yeah, so I'm not going to do details on pricing because I don't know that we've 100% figured it out, but you should, as a like a passionate, dedicated player, you should have no problem achieving the same sort of gameplay style as someone who has a battle pass. And likewise, if you want to be more casual, the battle pass is going to give you a boost to your daily rewards. And the way I look at it is that I won't have to do everything to be like, won't have to participate in every single game loop. I can choose to participate in the ones that are more interesting to me, because the battle pass is going to help supplement some of my time in the other way. So, can you play the HoloSim on the Seeker? My Seeker isn't here yet, so I haven't tried it. But that speaks to a sort of a
John, I
bigger
might just
Oh yeah, go ahead.
and I might just jump in really quickly just on the monetization angle. I do want to note that we are focusing primarily on traditional forms of payment. So it's a Stripe integration. People will be able to pay with credit card, debit card, the other conventional payment rails. This is really the first time that we've introduced this. We've always been very crypto centric, and all purchases on our marketplace have always been denominated in crypto. There are some risks with chargebacks with any of our live mainnet game assets, and so we've been pretty resistant to that. But I think we're in a fortunate position with respect to HoloSim, given its game design, and that we have an opportunity here to introduce more traditional payments. I think it's great for us as a studio that we now have yet another revenue stream coming into the company. And maybe just one more note on this that I've commented on in Foundation Room, but just in terms of potential of this particular product. Now, it's not a totally fair benchmark, but a mobile game that is similar is Star Trek Fleet Command, and they boast numbers of some 400,000 daily active users and something like $15 million in revenue per month. Now, Star Trek is obviously a very highly established IP, and so that's an aggressive target for us to go after. But final point I would make is that if we see anything even remotely in terms of level of success that something like Star Trek Fleet Command achieved, what's important is that funding, that capital that comes into the studio really gives us a great advantage in being able to continuously build out our long-term, fully decentralized, open Cybernation vision for Star Atlas.
Very true.
Cool.
Very true.
I do want to just try and address one question here. That's about how, like, we know that alt account creation it gave Booster a really interesting advantage in the last season. So how are we addressing that? So there's two things. This chapter of HoloSim is slated to be a 5-week chapter. It's not a 8-9 week season. Right there, the amount of crew that you're going to have access to is going to be halved, right? So you won't have, even if you did start an alt account, the total number of crew at play is going to be about half of what it was in the last season. So that's one thing. The second part is that the crew isn't going to come from the daily login by majority. Some will come through the daily login, but the majority of crew will come through the storyline quests. And that means you want to proceed through the storyline as fast as possible to ramp up the total number of crew that you can have as fast as possible. That also gets you the completionist award and the Soulflare campaign bundle. So if a person who is going to set up an alt is going to go all the way through the 3, 4, 5 weeks of content that the storyline is going to take, then great. Like, and if they want to do that twice or 3 times, I don't know how they're going to do it, but great, right? So it's not this like passive daily reward of crew that's coming in. Like that is going to be something, but it's not going to be nearly as much. The season's going to be half as long, and the majority of crew are going to come through active things like the storyline, and then some through missions, and missions will be progressive and more difficult sort of thing. So I hope that addresses that. I didn't want to do too many things all at once. I think that we're going to play this season by ear and see how it goes. If we still think alts are a big deal, then we'll try some other stuff, but that's the plan right now.
Perfect. Perfect. Jose, Xcode. Anything we should cover? Anything else?
Nah, I think we said our piece. Thank you, Santi, Michael, everyone for having us. Super excited about this new chapter of HoloSim. It's going to be a lot of fun. So rest well because next week we are back to the grind, boys and girls.
Yes. Get ready. So August 20th, new season coming for HoloSim with rewards in there as well, thanks
got
to
one more
software.
thing.
So
One more thing.
yep.
So Leonard posted a question here about the combat bug that we had. And I do want to address it, just in that the improvements that we're making to the combat log and the combat system in general, will make identifying those issues infinitely easier. You'll have a full combat log. You'll be able to see who attacked who and where they were in the world, sort of thing. We don't have a conclusive answer to what happened last season. All that we know is that we now have all the tools that we need to address a similar issue if it happens again at this point. So it's not perfect, but yeah, we're definitely in a better position to address that kind of thing.
Awesome.
Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Well, awesome work,
See y'all
guys.
later.
Thanks, Jose. Thanks, John.
See ya.
Awesome to see the progress on this, and
Pleasure.
I'm
Yep.
really excited about the addition of HoloSim into the stable of the Star Atlas product suite. Just super cool seeing the advancement in Unreal Engine and the shooter modes and in racing. Brad's done some great work on mission system in single player Gallia. We've got Sage and Sage C4 on the horizon, and now just really seeing the maturity of HoloSim come along and establish itself as a very attractive product. I think it's a huge opportunity for the Star Atlas ecosystem, just to be able to onboard this massive top of funnel through a free-to-play product that has all of these really cool experimental features. And for anyone else that's questioning whether or not they should play HoloSim, if you are a Sage player, things like territory control and star-based combat, those are features that are going to be rolling out in C4. So it's a really good opportunity just to get early experimentation into future Sage mechanics, even if you're not super hardcore into the free-to-play 4X world that is HoloSim.
Absolutely. Also, the HoloSim team moves insanely fast. They listen to all the feedback that people post in the chat, and they literally iterate based on feedback in real time. So that's another reason this will help shape the whole product. So get involved. Your voice really matters here. So shout out to the HoloSim team and Xcode as well for always being super responsive and paying a ton of attention to what the community is saying.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, Santi, that was another great town hall, man. What
Wrap it up.
what else could we offer today? Such a really great event.
Yes.
Oh, wait, Dom's here.
Big announcement still coming right here, right now, right now. Don't let him troll you.
Wait. Brace yourselves, guys. Brace yourselves.
Oh, the
Glue
moment you've all been waiting
yourself
for.
to the screen. The big announcement.
I can't
is
screen
coming.
share either.
No way.
No,
way.
dude. And Dom, I don't even think you should screen share after Earther just posted that image, man.
You guys.
That's it. We are going to wrap it up. Wrap it up.
So yeah, should we get into this?
We should get
the
into
main
it.
topic?
Can't
Actually, Dom
stream.
can't-
Can't stream just yet.
Yeah, nor can I,
Okay.
actually. I'm going to drop off really quickly,
Oh, we're good.
too.
Hello. All right.
Okay. Wait. Let's get Michael in here, though.
Don't worry. Have
Let's
it
get Michael
appropriately
in here
titled.
before. Okay.
I'm going rogue. I'm spilling the beans right here.
Swag.
I'm here. I'm watching.
Let's do this.
Let's do it.
There we
Oh
go.
my god. Oh my god. Take it away.
Michael, you're muted, I think.
Let's go.
There
Play
we
one more
go.
time, Don. One more time, man. Let's do a replay here. Beautiful.
Beautiful.
All right, massive, massive implications for this. It's something that we've been working on. Actually, let me see if I can. I've got screen share now. All right, you guys have a tiny presentation here because I'm on an ultra wide. Let me do this actually.
Better.
Yeah, we'll run with this. Well, I'm super excited about this. I mean, this is, before we get into anything, I want to actually just preface this with this concept of Zinc is something that has been in development, that has seen pretty significant capital investment and development effort for years now. This is not something that we just came up with. This goes all the way back to 2022 with our player profile primitive. It goes to 2023 with the establishment of AtlasNet and the work that our team was doing internally on this infrastructure for us to be able to test our program deployments before going to Solana mainnet. The Zinc brand was actually established and registered in 2023 as well, originally intended to be a pure digital identity play. We'll get into kind of the whole identity piece, what that means with respect to Zinc and the L1, and also how I think this has pretty massive implications for marketing and distribution of this platform, as well as the implications into Star Atlas. But some of you guys have already found it. The domain is just z.inc. You guys can go hop on the site and check that out if you want, but I would stick around for the presentation first and then maybe go explore that site afterwards. And there are some kind of buzzwords in there, maybe just to explain really quickly. The identity linked piece I'll get into, that's an integration of player profile. And the SBM L1 is the Solana virtual machine. So we are fully compatible and composable with the Solana ecosystem. If you're native to Solana, this is going to be a very seamless transition over to Zinc. And again, big implications for being able to onboard, recruit, and build out the Zinc ecosystem by recruiting developers and users directly from Solana over to this network. So jumping right in here, this is, to me, probably the most unique selling point that we're introducing, and that is a unique on-chain digital identity that leverages, as I said, our player profile branded as the Z profile across the Zinc ecosystem that allows you to, first and foremost, we believe, establish a pretty deep emotional connection to a blockchain. Now, this is something that hasn't really been done before. You know, as much as I come from kind of the deep philosophy and ideology of crypto, of, you know, at least semi-anonymity, of privacy, of censorship resistance, of self-sovereignty, of holding your assets. One thing that I think is lacking today in crypto is the ability to truly identify with a network that you're operating on, you know, beyond and above the .sol name extension or .eth or .run. Zinc allows you to have this on-chain profile that is gamified in a way in which you're actually earning XP and you're progressing your profile and you're establishing status and reputation for yourself as you do that. And I'm really excited about getting into some of the mechanics that will allow you to progress your identity on Zinc. But overall, you can treat this on-chain profile as an avatar that has the same potential for progression and sense of accomplishment from playing any, say, MMO that you would play, like Star Atlas, for example. So really excited about the identity piece. Again, I think it's probably the most unique element that we're introducing to this blockchain. Now, it does have, again, a couple of really unique features here. What makes the identity piece itself most powerful is the idea that we're introducing this zero knowledge proof element to it. And so as you register your profile, your data is actually protected and secured behind the zero knowledge proof. That unlocks the potential for things like binary-based responses on various requests that can come from different applications that are running on the chain, from DEXs, from DeFi protocols, different games, for example, and that's kind of coupled with this optional KYC piece. Now, I mentioned again, I'm very kind of deep in the philosophy of crypto, and nobody really wants to complete KYC. It's kind of a bad word in the space, but we also all realize that that is largely necessary to some extent with centralized services like centralized exchanges. And there's a bit of a future proofing element to this, because depending on where regulation goes, we do believe that it's likely that at some point in the future, most of these Web3 products are going to require some type of KYC. Now, we want to make that fully optional. And again, we're going to protect the user privacy and user data by securing the underlying KYC elements with this zero knowledge proof. Just to expand on where the implications of that are too, I'll talk a bit more about player profile. You guys already know that we use player profile across the Star Atlas ecosystem, most prominently used within Sage for this hot, cold wallet kind of game session product wherein you're able to approve permissions for certain game actions within Sage, like movement and fleet formation and mining and crafting and combat systems when those come online. But at the same time, because it's coupled with the cold wallet component and specific permissions that prevent things like withdrawing assets from the game, or listing items on the marketplace for sale, or spending funds from the wallet itself, we're actually able to protect the underlying security of a user's assets while creating this seamless play experience that with automated and auto-approved transactions in the background. Now, that doesn't just apply to Star Atlas. This Z profile primitive that we've built means that when you connect to any application across the Zinc ecosystem, the goal here with Zinc itself is to be able to establish specific permission settings across those applications as well. And so one thing that this unlocks, for example, is the ability to subscribe using on-chain assets to a particular service and have an automated withdrawal from your wallet in a specific amount without risking or compromising the security of the entire wallet balance. Now, this is really cool. We just talked about a subscription service for HoloSim. But really any on-chain subscription that you might be interested in is now accessible and unlockable through the Z profile and through your Zinc profile. Just one further example would be something like Jupyter's DCA or recurring trade function, where you can kind of set a DCA to buy in or sell assets. Right now, you transfer the entire balance into that DCA pool, and then Jupe actually is the one to automate the timing of all of those transactions. With something like the Zinc profile, you would not be required to transfer your entire balance. You would actually just be able to approve a permission for Jupe to withdraw a specific amount from a wallet on a recurring basis, and you're still maintaining custody of all of the underlying assets. So that's really the dApp permissioning side.
Michael, just to add on that, Stratus committee should already be kind of familiar with something like that, not only from Jupe, but if you're using products like Atom, they are leveraging the player profile system, where they use a hot wallet that you delegate permissions to only manage your Sage actions. So the Stratus committee is already familiar with products like this, just that now on Zinc, it's basically the options are limitless. The possibilities are endless, not just for Sage, but the chain as a whole.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. I mean, player profile is prolific across the Star Atlas ecosystem today. You mentioned Atom. I mean, Sly A uses it. Evi uses it for the command deck, and so it's already pretty prolific across our own ecosystem. But again, what is really powerful here with adapt permissioning is that this really applies to any application that you might connect to. And the result of that is that you really get this Web3 single sign-on option where connecting your wallet to, I'll give a final example on this slide, but connecting your wallet to a DEX. Hypothetically, let's say in the future, decentralized exchanges also require KYC. Well, we have this unique advantage where our users that have completed KYC that connect to any DEX now have the ability to send a response to that DEX that, yes, KYC has been completed, without the requirement to share any of the actual underlying user information to that DEX. They can just request confirmation, has it been completed or not, and the response is binary, yes or no. And I think that that's pretty powerful, and again, kind of targeting future proofing with this. But ultimately, the thing that is really cool to me is this idea that as you're active on the network, you're leveling up your earning status, and kind of the next slides, I'll get into a little bit of what the ripple effects of that are. And just to quickly address Kriggs's question here, a lot of these features are not fully connected up yet. I probably should have mentioned this at the start, but Zinc is an independent entity. It operates as a fully owned subsidiary of Automata. We're actually in the process of separately raising capital on this. And the goal would be to build out a dedicated team within Zinc that focuses on the L1 development, on ecosystem growth, on other feature development, like the optional KYC process. And so I want to be clear that this is not intended to be a distraction from what we're focused on at Star Atlas. The core team at Automata is still working on Star Atlas exclusively. We do have some engineering crossover right now as we're in the early stages, but ultimately we raise capital on Zinc and we start to build out this network, which actually also takes a lot of the burden off of our Star Atlas team to build out some of these components that are pretty important for a well-functioning network. So just moving along from there, there's, from the SVM standpoint, I mentioned this is Solana virtual machine. We're not really making any modifications whatsoever to consensus. The goal here is to be fully compatible and fully composable with Solana. We love Solana. Solana works well in most cases. What we did experience at the start of the year, and a lot of the feedback that we got from users during kind of the meme bonanza that was taking place, was that network stability was a problem, and that priority fees were a problem. And so as we started to collectively think about, well, what is the future of something like AtlasNet, and if we build our own and launch our own L1, what are the pieces of that? And really collectively as a team, as we were navigating this through the earlier parts of the year, we kind of came to the conclusion that we have this Zinc concept, which is the digital identity piece, bolting that on and really wrapping the L1 with it, that we can create something with some unique value. And so, but the point is, we're not really trying to change consensus on Solana. We're really looking to establish a network that is dedicated initially to Star Atlas, so performance is optimal, and so that we can ultimately minimize the fees that users are paying. And so I probably would mention this later in the presentation, but we would anticipate that your network transaction fees, as we transition over to Zinc, will drop by probably greater than 99%. And that's really purely a function of network value at launch. But again, big implications for our players. We saw as priority fees spiked, it was hard for players to operate profitably. profit margins declined, and some of the the players with a lower asset portfolio weren't able to even play anymore profitably. And so with this, we get to eliminate 99% of those fees, and now pretty much every player of any scale is able to come into the game and operate. But there are some cool things that we've worked on at Automata that contribute to this. You guys know about FKit. That's the native Solana wallet integration into Unreal Engine 5. Starframe is something that we've not really talked about at this point, but it is a replacement for the development framework that is used by every developer on Solana today, and that's called Anchor. Our team has gone in and built a more sophisticated, elegant framework for Solana, and we call that Starframe. Allows for far more complex program deployments with a reduction in things like total compute units and a cost of having accounts that have a rent fee associated with them. Our own on-chain MMO game systems that we've built out, you all use those in Sage today. And then of course, the Z profile. These are all tools and infrastructure that we'll be making available to other teams that are interested in shifting and moving or even cross deploying their applications on Zinc as well. In terms of the roadmap, I do want to be very clear that we are starting this in a highly permissioned fashion. Now we do anticipate having an exclusive set of validators that will be operating on the network, third parties that aren't just the Automata team. But otherwise, the emphasis here is very controlled, very strategic approach to maturing the network. And we want to ensure that we can prioritize Star Atlas initially. So our users, our existing users today, can encounter and see the benefits of operating on Zinc. But over time, we start to go open access permissionless with a much wider validator set. We aren't branding this, by the way, as a gaming chain or any particular niche. I think that focusing marketing on a specific category like that of crypto really misses major opportunities in building out just a broad generalist consumer chain. And I think that all of the products and services that run on any blockchain today, like DeFi or DePIN or marketplaces, NFT projects, other Web3 gaming projects, I think that those are all valuable applications and tools for people to have access to. And so we want Zinc to be a generalist blockchain, not a gaming blockchain. But with that said, given the tool set that I just covered and the infrastructure products that we've built, we do want to focus on recruiting other Web3 gaming projects that build on-chain game logic over to Zinc as our initial priority, and then expand from there. Also worth noting that there will be a seamless bridge our team's already built. So going back and forth from Solana to Zinc will be seamless and will be accessible and available as we launch. And from our side, we're going to be moving all of the Star Atlas game logic that runs on chain today over to Zinc in our next releases. So Starbase will continue to operate on Solana, but as we get into future deployments like C4, for example, that's going to be running on Zinc.
Big news.
Yeah. In terms of, let's talk a little bit about kind of the synergistic value between Zinc and Star Atlas. I'm going to start by how Zinc actually benefits pretty significantly from launching Star Atlas and bootstrapping the network with Star Atlas on day one. One of the biggest issues with any new blockchain that launches is this cold start problem. You might have great technology, but you have to recruit people to the network to actually build on it. And one of the issues with recruiting builders is you kind of need users on the network. it's hard to get users on the network without having applications running on the network. And so we kind of immediately solved that problem by launching with Star Atlas that has native users and also has, as you all know, if you've been playing Sage, has quite a significant amount of transactions taking place. And so just, a little model here of current volume. We produce Star Atlas game systems and on-chain programs produce anywhere from 2 to 6 million transactions per day. That's a pretty huge starting point. We've modeled out here what it would look like if instead of our 2,100 daily active users, we had 10,000, 50,000, or 100,000 daily active users. And now this is looking at historical data over the course of 2024. But the fact of the matter is, even with the existing user base, we produce more on-chain transactions than a lot of L1s and a lot of L2s. In the current state, live real on-chain transactions per second are about 20. That's more than Ethereum, that's more than Avalanche, and again, more than a handful or most other L1s and L2s out there. And with even a modest amount of growth just in the Star Atlas user base, we move ourselves into a top 10 blockchain. You can do whatever extrapolation you would like to do, but there are implications on what the underlying value of the network are, the so-called market cap based on that network activity. And so I'm quite optimistic about what we can achieve with Zinc, given the fact that we are bootstrapping this network with Star Atlas game logic. I might also note here, very quick aside, for anyone who's been playing HoloSim, HoloSim has been running on a cluster of this network architecture. So you've technically been playing on Zinc already, just in the background without knowing it. And so it's much faster transactions. And now, HoloSim is not going to run on Zinc mainnet because we don't want any actual transaction fees in HoloSim as part of how that product is architected. But nevertheless, for anyone who's experienced HoloSim, you'll have a sense for how performant Zinc is out of the gate. I'm going to come back around to how Star Atlas benefits from this whole thing. And it's all tied together with the Star Atlas summer campaign. Just want to quickly touch on some monetization here. Again, implications for how we fund both Zinc and how we ultimately fund Automata as well. I see a ton of questions coming through, guys. I'll probably scroll back up and take a look, but let me just run through this. Have a few more slides here. Wanted to touch on the monetization. I think this is actually another unique element that we're introducing, something that I haven't seen in any L1 today, but that's a premium subscription service. We are going to be rolling out our .inc naming service. So this is analogous to your .sol or your .eth or .run naming extensions. The big difference here is you actually have a personified profile behind it. So you can go out and, tell people, hey, look at me. I'm level 50 on the network. I'm an OG because I've been active on this network since the launch. And then we, Automata, will also be a validator on this. And so we're going to be picking up network inflation subsidies, as well as a portion or share of any of the network transaction fees. Now, there's some other ancillary revenue streams here that are largely tied to marketing. And again, I will come back to how Zinc is not only an identity layer and an L1, but also a marketing and distribution platform. Quick peek at what the monetization or the premium subscription tiers look like. The goal here is to truly drive the value proposition of being a subscribing user here. Some of the immediate perks that we can add are things like multipliers to your XP as you're progressing. Things like adding the .inc premium on-chain name to the Aura tiers or the Apex tiers, so you get access to that premium domain for free. Which, by the way, these premium domains do create more of a human readable address that people can transact between. So instead of copying and pasting your pub key and making sure that you're checking the characters that they're accurate, you can just type out Santi.inc and make your donations to him now if you'd like to.
We'll love that.
Within Zinc Alpha, now we're rolling out the initial HoloSim Battle Pass independently, but one thing that we will do with Zinc is also layer in perks for some of the other Star Atlas products. Like if you're an Alpha subscriber, you will get access to the HoloSim Battle Pass included with that subscription. And then finally, on the higher tiers like Aura and Apex, we will be adding in various game asset rewards from Star Atlas that people will earn as they progress through their Zinc profile. And so to round this out with Zinc really being this marketing and distribution platform, what I do think is that as we recruit other teams and projects to build on Zinc, we can actually include them in this Battle Pass service. And you might ask yourself why another team would want to include some assets to give away through Zinc when they could probably just do it themselves. Well, we have this massive advantage in that we can use the Zinc profile as part of a pre-qualification process, right? So another game, for example, can come to us and say, well, we want to drop some game assets to somebody as a user acquisition strategy, but we want to make sure that they're at least level 20 on the network so that we know that this is not just a brand new wallet that was spun up to farm our airdrop. And perhaps they say we want to know that they've completed the optional KYC. Again, no specific data being shared with them, but they want to know that that KYC process was completed so they have some higher assurance that this is a genuine individual user. And they might also say that we want to make sure that this is a wallet profile that has also interacted with some other Web3 game on the platform. Well, now they have a very targeted user profile that they can go after, and they can allocate some rewards to them as part of their marketing and user acquisition strategy. We layer those perks into the Zinc Premium subscription, and we allow them to target somebody specifically who is more likely to be one of their users. We'll be proving this concept out with Star Atlas initially, but again, looking to expand this as we emerge into growing the ecosystem overall. Little quick highlight of what the tokenomics, token distribution looks like. We are allocating the majority, 2/3 of the token supply. And I didn't mention this, Santi. I probably should have mentioned, but this is going to launch with its own token. I want to get into at the end of this some of the implications of that and the thinking around why we are releasing this with its own separate token, but there is going to be a separate network consensus token here. It is primarily allocated to ecosystem growth. That's things like airdrops, but otherwise grants and partnerships will see some of that distribution as well. The Automata team is 20%, Zinc team is 10%. What I really want to highlight here is the Star Atlas DAO is receiving 5% of the token allocation. The Star Atlas DAO will also be a validator on the network, likely to be managed by Automata initially, but I think there's some opportunity here for existing community members to actually take over the management of that validator as well. I know we have some very proficient validator operators in the Star Atlas ecosystem now who are big on Solana. A little shout out to King Brian from our community. But I think there's an opportunity here for someone to ultimately take over that validator operated on behalf of the DAO. The nice thing is the DAO now has another separate revenue stream in the form of network inflation as well as network transaction fees. So the DAO benefits from it directly. And one of the core reasons we included the Star Atlas DAO in the allocation is because there is a possibility that Zinc just absolutely explodes. It gets wildly popular and has some, incredible market valuation, market cap. And if we encounter that situation, then it kind of puts us back to where we were at the start of the year, which is, how do we solve this problem of Solana transaction throughput consistency and also navigating these priority fees on the network. Well, between Automata and our validator and the Star Atlas DAO and its validator, because it's collecting fees in the native network token, it can actually subsidize some of those user transaction fees, similar to what we proposed in the Atlas Locker addendum. So I think that that's really powerful for the entire Star Atlas ecosystem. And then finally, just bringing everything together. How do we kick this all off as part of the marketing side of this? And this is really where it all ties back into the Star Atlas Summer campaign. Is we're going to be launching an initial airdrop season for Zinc. Now we're expecting to kick off the airdrop season in September. It will run for about 3 months. It'll go into December. In December, we're anticipating the Network Genesis event. So we will have Zinc running as a mainnet L1 in December. All of the Star Atlas products will be operating on that. Things like Sage C, for example, will be moving over to Zinc. And part of the airdrop season, and this is where we bring this back into how does Star Atlas derive some value from this, we are proving out the distribution concept by tying the initial XP progression mechanics on your Zinc profile back into engagement with Star Atlas. So if you're playing Sage, or you're playing HoloSim, which is fully free to play, if you're completing matches in both racing and the shooter modes in Unreal Engine, one of the easiest ways is just by simply staking Atlas and Polus to the DAO. Or if you're trading on the primary marketplace, as well as a few other social mechanics that we're going to be integrating into this as well, that's how you're earning XP towards your profile. And then you can go so far as to double the amount of XP that you earn, and therefore double, at least in theory, your airdrop in this initial campaign, simply by subscribing to that premium subscription tier. Well, all of this is intended to be, again, a massive top of funnel for Star Atlas. Get people interested in this innovative new L1 in a Zinc airdrop. If they want to farm that, they have to come in and engage in Star Atlas products. And so we expect to continue forward with multiple airdrops campaigns out of that ecosystem growth allocation. We will continue to tie Star Atlas back into this. But the goal here is to drive users directly into all of these new product launches that we have coming up in the Star Atlas product suite. Just one more note on this, by the way, I think it's important to emphasize is that all of you that are existing Star Atlas users are extremely well positioned to participate in this airdrop campaign, because you're already doing all of these things. You already have tokens locked in the lockers. You are already playing the games. You're already trading on the marketplace. And so at a minimum, you're all going to receive a distribution of this token from the airdrop. And if you couple the fact that your network transaction fees are going to drop by about 99% because we're moving to this new network, plus the fact that you're getting a distribution of this token in December when we move to mainnet, you will at least have an allocation of tokens in your wallet that will cover a lot of your network transaction fees. And given I've seen some reports of network transaction fees consuming anywhere from 10 to 30% of a player's total top line revenue, you can now bake that back into your profit margin. You're going to be making at least that 10 to 30% more from gameplay because we're shifting over to Zinc.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. That was it on this. I saw a ton of questions coming through. Happy to jump in and answer a few of those.
You need a sip of water first, Michael, man.
I'm not a big fan of deck style presentations. I like to just wing it, but hopefully that was coherent. And again, I realize that there's going to be a lot of questions about this, but we're super excited about this internally.
Yeah, I think I think the main question out there, Michael, is about Atlas and Polis and how does it all tie together?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, so we fully anticipated this as being one of the questions. It's kind of the elephant in the room. Why didn't we tie Atlas and Polis tokenomics to this network? And there was a ton of discussion about this internally. For what it's worth, I was kind of the biggest opponent of having this network token initially, but there were a ton of great arguments for why this actually requires its own network token. And we ultimately do believe that this is the value maximizing approach across the entire ecosystem, and that includes Star Atlas. So let's just talk about what are the downsides first. I really only see one, and that is we've kind of forfeited an opportunity here to drive some additional utility to Atlas and Polis. Now, let me just pause there. That's kind of it. Yes, we could have leveraged Atlas and Polis, and users that already hold that now hold the token that's necessary for consensus. But what that doesn't achieve is it doesn't really allow us to break outside of the existing Star Atlas user base and community. More importantly, to grow a network like this over time, we are going to need an allocation of tokens that are used to incentivize the growth of the ecosystem. Now, that goes down to the validator level. And what I didn't touch on is kind of the significance of the decentralization part of this. People have asked us about using, say, Magic Blocks or Sonic SVM or some of these other Solana L2 solutions that are out there. And those are all good suggestions. The downside with those is that those are effectively just centralized on-chain solutions for our backend game systems. If we were going to go down that route, we might as well just remove all of our on-chain game logic and just build in Google Cloud or some cloud service. We don't want to do that. The vision for Star Atlas is to build out this decentralized metaverse and cybernation concept with composability and extensibility where anybody can build upon it. But bigger than that is that we want the vision of Star Atlas to live well beyond the existence of this studio. And we think in very long timelines, 100 years, 200 years, something that can persist well beyond us, with or without automata being involved. And the only way that we can achieve that is by ultimately building out our game systems to live fully on chain and on a network that is actually truly decentralized. And so given we're solving for this problem of network stability and transaction fees, we're going to launch our own L1. Well, it's important, in fact, imperative that this L1 achieves a fully decentralized and permissionless status over time as well. And so all of that is to say that we need various incentives in place to be able to achieve that decentralization. Well, we don't really have that option with Atlas and Polis today. Those tokens are fully allocated. There are claims against those. Atlas is allocated to game incentives and earnings, and Polis is allocated to the lockers and to the governance structure. The only way we would be able to create an incentive pool for decentralization is to either take from the existing allocation and reduce the supply that's available for game incentives or governance, or mint more Atlas and Polis. And I don't think anybody wants to see that. It would be a dilutive effect on everybody that's an existing holder. And so that's number one. We need a pool of tokens that can be used to incentivize decentralization, but we also want to be able to grow the ecosystem. And how do we do that? Well, we do that through airdrops. That's user acquisition. We do that through grants and rewards to other teams that are building on the network. Once again, the only way we can do that is if we have a pool of tokens that can incentivize that process. And what was really important is that we're not taking any of the supply that's fully allocated from Atlas and Polis and or diluting any of our existing users. And so what we wanted to achieve here was, yes, we're minting a new token. what I do want to clarify is that we're not adding a fourth token to the ecosystem. We really see this as a replacement of one of those. You're now no longer responsible for spending Sol within the ecosystem. Instead, you'll be spending Zinc. So think of that as a swap, Zinc for Sol, and then all of the other underlying tokenomics and mechanics for Atlas and Polis remain the same, with the side benefit of now the Star Atlas DAO is a beneficiary of inflation capture and network transaction fees. So we're actually able to retain a lot of this value that's spent on Solana within the Star Atlas ecosystem as a result. And again, that allows us then to leverage the DAO as a tool to even offset or subsidize some of these fees if that's something that the DAO is interested in moving forward with. So, and the kind of the last part on the incentive side, by the way, is by launching a new token, it gave us a huge opportunity to set up this entire marketing funnel for ourselves. The only way we can set up an airdrop model with a distribution of tokens to someone that they might be interested in is if we have a new token. And the net effect is, to whatever extent there's enthusiasm and hype around getting access to this innovative new L1 network token, is go play Star Atlas. Once again, we didn't have a pool of tokens that we could use for that type of activity. Right, we can't pull Atlas from the allocation that's used for game systems. So for all of these reasons, the network token is actually pretty significant and pretty necessary to how it functions. So
Perfect.
that was largely it. Again, I'll touch on the fact that we are raising capital on this independently. That would be something that would be more challenging if we didn't have this separate network token available to us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that covers the question, Michael. Lots of questions coming in. I think the main one I've seen, or the one that repeats the most, is supply for the Zinc token.
It's kind of irrelevant, to be honest with you, but I mean, we have some tokenomics structured out. I will caveat and say these are subject to change. By the way, we'll have a light paper for this out in probably a couple of weeks. I don't want to commit to a timeline, but probably 2 weeks or so, 2 to 3 weeks, we'll release the light paper. But I mean, I can share the current total supply is 100 million of these tokens. Again, that can change, but ultimately it doesn't really matter what the total supply is. When we go, it's what is the underlying allocation or distribution of those tokens. We did have Brett on standby, by the way. And Brett, if you're welcome to jump on stage if you'd like. Maybe we can answer some more of the technical questions. I was pretty concentrated there, so I wasn't able to read through the chat while we were running through.
The other main question, Swag, is about, and maybe Brett could comment on it as well, is about the migration, or how things happen and interact. How does Zinc interact with Solana?
Well, it won't. I mean, it's a separate network, but we have a native bridge that we've built, so it will be easy to bridge back and forth with your assets. That's a feature that's going to be online at the time of Genesis. I also want to make clear here that this isn't about us abandoning Solana or that we don't like Solana. We're obviously using the Solana virtual machine. Like, we think the tech is best in class, and we think it's the most scalable technology that exists out there in the blockchain space today. And where most of the network effect is arguably in crypto today is actually on Solana. The most developers, the most users, the most TVL, the most network activity, all of these things are happening on Solana at the moment. Now, we don't want to fight that. We want to take advantage of that. And so we fully anticipate having some of our on-chain programs running on Solana still. So things like the marketplace, the Galactic Market, things like the Star Atlas DAO, the governance functionality. Tensor will still be trading CNFTs. So we AMMs and DEXs. We still have full support for all of that. And any token, like the Zinc token, for example, is going to have an SPL token on Solana as well. And so in terms of liquidity, trade, financial features, we still want to optimize for running on Solana. What we're really talking about is moving the Star Atlas game logic over to Zinc first. That's step one in the roadmap. That's where the users benefit from this reduced fee structure and kind of better network stability.
Hello.
Hello, Brett. Welcome to the stage, my friend.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Okay,
Answering a few
let's see.
questions in the chat.
Yeah, I saw you out there already in the chat. Let's see if there are any more questions. There's a question from Bodhi right now about the decentralization / security implications of contracts on Zinc and the bridge. I don't know if we can comment on it.
Yeah.
Brett, are you able to address that one?
Yeah, I mean I assume contracts meaning smart contracts, where we're basically going to be running the same code base as Solana with some modifications on top. Those modifications aren't going to be touching things like how transactions are executed or anything like that. It's mostly around the what validators are allowed, what how staking is allowed, that sort of thing. We may in the future add on things like, okay, we added an extra instruction that allows us to do when triangulation of something that is much faster to do, not in a VM. We could do things like that eventually, but otherwise it's just going to be the same code that's running on Solana. So the same basically level of security there. And there's going to be enough validators that it's not going to be one validator gets something wrong and everything's wrong. There are enough running. We're already running 7 just from Automata on AtlasNet, and that's basically our test net, right? So that's basically running the same. We just have airdrop turned on. The main net is just a copy of that with airdrop off.
Perfect. A technical question also is, would assets remain on Solana and then just referenced on Zinc, or they are all bridged?
So we will have a two-way bridge to go between the two that we have already proven out. Of course, bridges are the biggest security risk of everything. That's so we're building that in the most secure way possible. But yeah, it'll be we already have one. We are doing it in such a way that we feel is extremely secure. It is quite centralized as the bridge. We have a few options for decentralizing that bridge in the future as well. But it'll be when we first get into C4. So have we talked about C4 deploying there?
Leak?
Okay.
No, we are. C4 will yeah. When C4 exits PTR, well, actually, technically, Brett, C4 PTR is also going to be running on the Zinc infrastructure as well, but not Zinc mainnet.
Yes.
Yeah.
So PTR will be free, but then when C4 launches, it'll be on Zinc mainnet. This has allowed us to design C4 with, as everybody has seen, massive numbers of systems, massive numbers of tokens. Last test I just ran on the current C4 configuration took over 200 Sol just to initialize, right? With how much data there is. Zinc being 1% the cost, that's okay. Being on Solana mainnet, that would be completely unreasonable, and it also leaks into user accounts and everything. That starts getting insane costs. So we're able to make the game way more complicated, way more interesting by having everything on Zinc. So C4 was designed with Zinc in mind.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. Just in terms of kind of this path to wider decentralization, to open access, to it being permissionless, to the stage where any validator can join the network and support. My initial expectation is that that's going to take something like 18 to 24 months. Now, I do expect that between the launch in December, the mainnet Genesis event, and that 18 to 24 months that I'm referencing, I do anticipate that we'll start to expand into greater and greater decentralization over that time, so we can get a much wider validator set probably over that period as well. But the key purpose here, going all the way back to how this concept arose at the beginning of the year, is we have 2 problems we need to solve. network stability, and transaction costs. Those were the biggest issues that were coming in from our community. And so this network allows us to solve that problem. If we go open and permissionless on day one, there's the possibility that it scales very rapidly and we re-encounter this issue with those two things, that network stability decreases and transaction costs increase, and then therefore we didn't solve that problem. So the rationale for letting the network mature over time in a more controlled state is so that we can continue to resolve those issues, which are the primary importance for us with the launch of the network, but also achieve decentralization over time, which is significant to the vision of Star Atlas and being able to be this decentralized cyber nation of the future. And so it's a roadmap. It will take some time. Yes, it is largely centralized initially, but as in all things, we progress iteratively, and we still have our sights set on this fully decentralized vision.
Yeah. Also seeing some questions on how the bridge will work. The into the game, it'll look just like the port of entry. Like the port of entry will basically bridge your stuff if you want it to. It'll say like, hey, you've got this many assets on Solana, you got some assets on Zinc. You pick some of the assets on Solana, it'll automatically bridge and put them in the game for you. Even when you take them out, you can put them on Solana or put them on Zinc. It won't be. It'll feel just like a normal port of entry is now, and we'll have some transition logic for current Sage to C4. I'm not going to go into too many details on that, but it'll be extremely easy to take assets in Sage and move them to C4 already. And any new assets are just as easy as the port of entry is now, or easier, because hopefully the UI will be better.
Perfect.
Yeah, on the marketing comment, I tried to highlight as extensively as I could. I think that Zinc becomes a great marketing and distribution platform. That's where the airdrop campaign comes in. That's how it ties into Star Atlas Summer, all of these major product launches that we have, coming up, as well as the ones we've just executed on. But the core goal with the airdrop campaign is to stimulate interest in earning a token distribution of Zinc from the airdrop campaign. And the way you do that is by engaging in all of the existing Star Atlas products. One of the easiest ways for people to do that will simply be buying Atlas and Polis and locking it in the locker. That's good for the Star Atlas ecosystem. And then HoloSim actually offers a full free-to-play way to access the airdrop as well. You don't have to spend anything. Just being active on HoloSim is a great way to earn some of this allocation. The key result from all of this, though, is that we're driving people directly into Star Atlas products. We're growing the Star Atlas user base. We're hopefully encouraging people to start participating in some of the subscription services like the HoloSim Battle Pass or the Zinc Premium subscription service. So all of these things are very complementary to everything else that we're already doing at Star Atlas.
There's a few questions on like wallets and everything. Won't go too much into like wallet support. That's with the wallets themselves. They would have to add a cluster, of course, but like Ledger, everything like that. Like there will be support for you. You should be able to barely notice a difference, right? You'll notice your transactions are faster. You'll connect your Ledger, connect your whatever wallet, even Phantom. If they don't do support, like cluster, like specifically that cluster, it'll just have a warning saying you can't simulate the transaction, but you can still use it if you wanted to, right? So, their Ledger will still be usable. Like it'll look very similar. It'll feel the same as if you're just playing the way you are now, except all the transactions will be faster.
Yeah, yep. I see a question here about. I want to come back to the transaction costs. Let's see.
Yeah, people asked about how much. I mean, they're asking for a rough estimate in how much a transaction will cost on Zinc.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, so Defiant Wyvern asked us to address the fees. I will say we're going to have Zinc.fun available on Genesis launch as well, so all of your meme coin minting will be available. That's a joke, but we're still refining some of the parameters, but Brett, we're looking at the effective parity with Solana base transaction fee of 5,000, LAM ports, which I don't know what we'll call LAM ports on Zinc. Maybe the same thing, maybe ZAM ports, but it will be the 5,000 LAM port base transaction fee. Now, how does that translate into dollars? It's pretty simple math. Solana has an $80 billion fully diluted market cap. Zinc will have something considerably lower than that. So the math is 5,000 LAM ports times whatever the price per token is. So the expectation is that this is going to be considerably less in dollar terms.
Yeah, that's 5,000 billionths of a token specifically, and it'll be basically the same rent rate and the same transaction fee rate, just change out the SOL for Zinc, right? Because we want maximum compatibility with as many third-party programs as everything. There are ways to get those values like from the environment basically in your programs, but then a lot of them just hard code the values because they haven't changed. So they come over to us and it'll suddenly be broken. So we want to keep as similar as possible, especially for the programs.
Yeah, and Brett, I don't know if it's we haven't talked publicly much about Starframe, and I'm certainly not as informed or informed enough to really speak elegantly about it, but I believe you guys have from the engineering core have talked about reduction in things like token accounts, which is where rent is incurred, the rent deposit is incurred, and I think with Starframe we're going to be able to eliminate a lot of token accounts, or was that just part of how C4 was architected?
That's partially C4 architecture, but also then it was only enabled by Starframe, right? So without Starframe, we couldn't have done that. That's why we didn't do it in the first place, is that we didn't have something like Starframe to track these tokens for us. But now we'll have like you deposit your tokens, earn once. All the instructions are super simple. A lot of things that were like needed multiple transactions now can kind of just not need multiple transactions. It's actually very nice to writing client side stuff inside of C4 now. So hopefully, especially on like the Atom guys and everything, it'll be easy. RPC, like we'll give RPC access to the same way we do now. We give it to Solana. We'll give you access to Zinc as well, right? So community developers will have full access. It'll feel exactly the same as a client dev or as a program developer. You're not going to notice the difference. You're going to notice lower transaction fees because the token you're doing transaction fees in is lower. And you're going to notice some slightly different addresses because they're different networks. But other than that, it's basically the same thing.
Perfect. There's a question about how Atlas will work in Zinc.
Yeah, so Atlas will have to be bridged over, just like all the other tokens as well. Eventually, there's a world where like Atlas is basically exclusively on Zinc, but right now we're doing effectively a slow rollout of our programs over time, and all the programs on Zinc are going to be profile first. So it'll feel more like you're just having to lock your Atlas into your profile, right? So your profile will store your Atlas, and even if we did that on mainnet, this just happens to be a bridge transaction instead of a Solana transaction. So it'll still feel very similar to how it would feel without Zinc.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
SDU here, censored last name, was asking about scaling solutions. How does this directly impact Star Atlas development? I want to revert back to the point. This is an independent team running as a subsidiary of Automata. Now there is development resources being applied to this right now from Automata. But the objective is to independently raise capital, build a separate team, and allow them to develop this out. So there's always the connection through Automata, but the goal is not to burden our Star Atlas developers with any more work on the blockchain development than is necessary for us to get to the fully established team on the Zinc side. And I actually think that there's a lot of efficiency and benefits that the Star Atlas team will experience because now there's this separate dedicated group of engineers that are focused on some of the critical infrastructure elements of how our Star Atlas products run on chain. And I also, just kind of moving along from that, I also just want to talk about the KYC. I knew this would also be a little bit of a controversial topic. Somebody asked, can we confirm that KYC will always remain optional. No, I can't offer that guarantee. Regulation is something that we monitor quite regularly. The goal would be to keep KYC optional forever, if that's possible. But there is a potential future where, as regulation frameworks get implemented, that for things like trading on dexes, which don't require KYC right now, well, they need to start taking in KYC. And even for Web3 gaming products like Star Atlas, given the sheer value of the assets within the ecosystem, there's a possibility that KYC needs to be introduced at some point. It's not something that we want to do, but if it's imposed upon us and it has to be done, then we have to be compliant. Then it would shift from being optional to being required. However, what I think is really, really valuable with the Zinc profile and this zero knowledge KYC process is really twofold. One is that your personal data does not need to be revealed to any of the counterparties. This is that binary checkpoint response that I was talking about. And I'll kind of come right back to that. But the second point is that this should be really beneficial from a convenience standpoint for all of the Zinc users. And to elaborate on that, imagine a world where every DEX and DeFi platform and Web3 game requires KYC in the future. And the way that it works today is if you're trading on different centralized exchanges, for example, you have to complete that process individually and submit your documentation and risk sharing all of your personal data and documents with every one of those exchanges. Well, the goal here would be to consolidate that. And if you complete this KYC process one time with Zinc, because of the composability of the primitive, that anytime you connect to any application across any Web3 service that might require KYC, your profile can respond, yes, it's been done, and it doesn't share any information with them, but it it does validate that you've completed the KYC process, and now you only have to do it one time. So this is a massive convenience for our users to the extent that they go through that process of KYC. But it's not something that we're extremely interested in doing. It's just that we also do want to future-proof for some potentiality that KYC becomes a greater requirement across everything Web3.
Okay. So Swag, I don't know if you want to cover some more questions or if we should move to the last topic that we have for today.
Yeah, I think we're coming up to 2 hours here. Santi, we should probably share. We know there's going to be a lot more questions about all of this. And so we do want to have a dedicated brew next Wednesday to this topic of Zinc. So my request to you all is, please submit your questions in advance so we can kind of prioritize those. I'll jump on next week. Brett will be there with us as well, and we'll try to tackle all of these bigger questions that are still remaining out there. This is a very big topic, a very big announcement, and so we know it's going to take some time to circulate all of the information that reassures people that this is the right path.
Yep, absolutely. So I'm dropping the link here in the chat for the Atlas Rule number 170 about Zinc. Hope to see everyone in there. And please post your questions in the newly created Zinc channel as well, where we will be tracking everything and we'll be taking notes so we can address them next Wednesday at the brew, where Michael and Brett will be there. So,
yeah.
With that,
one last thing is, there was a little bit of a scramble at the start of the town hall here, but you should. So again, the domain is z.inc. And by the way, the whole that brand came about from zero knowledge, digital identities, and digital signatures. Hence the .inc and hence the Z. You should be able to connect a wallet to Zinc now and create a profile if you don't have one. If you've already been playing Star Atlas, you already have a profile in Sage, then your profile will it is already created and will work with Zinc. But for anyone else that's looking to get a jump start and prepare themselves for this airdrop campaign, you should be able to go to Zinc right now and connect a wallet and register a profile.
Perfect. Okay. So
Like
with
some broke
that,
website.
I'm seeing connection errors, so I did speak out of turn there.
okay, it will be fixed. It will be fixed. So yeah, that covers Zinc. Big news that we just dropped here. So we know there are questions. Please post them in the Zinc channel. But we have one last topic, last but not least topic here at this town hall before we close. And I'll toss the mic to our good friend Dominic Bain for this one.
I'm ready to give the least exciting talk here of the entire day.
I think it's pretty exciting, actually.
Yes, same.
All right, everybody. So I'm here to talk about our new landing page at staratlast.com. So first off, I just want to say thank you, Danny, Jacob, Virtual, Michael, for all the help on this homepage revamp. This took an army to get done, but we got it done, and I think it looks great. Second thing I want to say is if you've ever joined an Atlas Brew, you've probably heard me say this before, but up until now we've spent all of our time and energy on building the actual game and foregoing costs and things like this in favor of actually focusing on the game and all of that stuff. So we foregoed the marketing efforts, we foregoed these other efforts and completely focused on the game, the products, until we had products that were in a stronger position. Well, that time is now. And we're working with a large group of creators for the first time ever. We've booted up our email marketing. We're partnering with projects like Soulflare, and they're sponsoring the HoloSim prizes, which is awesome. I'm so excited for that. We're uploading to YouTube regularly, and of course, today we are launching the updated homepage to staratlast.com. You guys can see it on my screen. What we've went for here is just practicality. What is going to actually work at grabbing someone new's attention? How do we get them into the funnel of learning about Star Atlas? That's why we're kind of using our amazing visuals here. You know, like go to staratlast.com, you're immediately hit in the face with all these amazing visuals that the team has put together. So definitely abusing that. The first CTA that you're going to see is to input your email, and that will get you a key and the Star Atlas guide to everything, which means people will now actually be able to play and learn about Star Atlas from just going to staratlast.com. They do not have to join our Discord to get a key, to learn, to ask questions. First of all, let me just also say big thank you to the people who worked on the Star Atlas guide to everything. That is an extremely long PDF. Virtual, Archetype, Danny, Jose, you guys killed it on that. Amazing job. And we've also added ways to learn about what Star Atlas is. So you'll have to actually add your email address or press the X to actually scroll down. But when you scroll down, you can learn that we're a dual experience with a third person and top-down strategic view, how our economy actually works. You can go to the latest economic report, to the galactic marketplace, and of course, we want people to go to the heart and soul of Star Atlas, which is you guys. So that is the website homepage revamp. Focused on practicality, focused on getting people into the funnel, learning about Star Atlas, getting into Star Atlas immediately. I know I'm yelling. I'm sorry. I'm just excited. There's been a lot of stuff today, but there's still a lot to do here. We'll update the site more over time. You'll also be able to download the Star Atlas guide for yourself. There's a little bit of complication with the newsroom page, but we're getting that fixed right now. But it'll be in the newsroom under game manuals. So you guys can go check that out. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the homepage revamp. Like I said, a lot more to do, but we are definitely getting there. I'm super excited.
All use in the chat right now. We have a new website.
Yeah, I also do want to give a big shout out to Virtual, to Archetype, to Jose, to Dom, in not only on the web design, but on that Star Atlas guide to everything. It's 150 pages of Star Atlas lore and characters and species and ship manufacturers with a bunch of art in there. I think it's a great addition, a great new funnel, and I think everybody will kind of I hope can start to connect the dots of we're going big on marketing. We're finally expanding out beyond this sole focus on just development down in the trenches, and we want to get this product out to the world, and we want people to be exposed to what Star Atlas is, and we want them to be able to understand it. So great work, though. Great work across the board, and appreciate those external contributions as well.
Yep.
And we know there's some broken links. We're fixing that right now. Appreciate you, Chris. All right, that's it.
Cool. That's also big news. I think it was very much needed. Now everybody will be able to find out what we're actually all about by just going to our website, which is major. And we were already capturing I think it was 20 emails a day on the last website. So now this is all more optimized. It has a way better funnel. It's just way better. So shout out to Dom and to everybody that was involved in building this. Great job.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was big news
So-
today, Santi. I don't know how many people were expecting it. I know there were some calls for it, but
Absolute cinema. That's what I'm going to say. We shared a lot today. I think it was packed with news. We have a HoloSim date for our season 1. We have Zinc, our own layer 1, which enables the Star Atlas vision. So, and we also have the website, which is also major. So, huge town hall, 2 hours long as always, and I think it's been a blast. It's always great to be here on stage with you, Michael, going through everything, and we have an exciting future ahead. So, feeling great.
yeah, man. And we're still in the middle of Star Atlas summer too. Things are actually just heating up. Again, having seen some organic growth, some partnerships that we've made with content creators over the on the lead up and during Star Atlas summer, there's more to come. We still have another big town hall on the way in 2 weeks, so I couldn't be more excited. Santi, I appreciate you being up here
Yes.
hosting with me. Dom, thanks for interrupting us and sharing that Zinc video. We might have forgotten all about it, so really appreciate you guys.
Silent
Yeah.
Summer isn't done yet. Let's go. One more town hall,
Mhm.
everybody. One more.
One more town hall. Brew next week about Zinc, and we have town hall part 3 in 2 weeks. So mark us interested there. No details yet. No image. Nothing. Go mark us interested right now so you don't miss the new town hall that is upcoming. So, all right. Thanks, Michael.
All right, time. Take a break.
Dom.
Let's go jump into. I'm gonna go jump into the arena, man.
Yes, sir. Let's go to the arena, everyone. Thank you for joining. We'll see you on Wednesday and all the events that we have up and coming. Thanks, everyone. Chat soon.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Bye.